Hello everyone. I'm Natasha, your host for today. If you're new here, I'd love to let you know that we upload a new English learning video every single day to help you improve your English quickly and confidently. In today's episode, we're going to explore something that every English learner dreams of mastering. Words that can truly elevate your fluency and impress native speakers. If you know these English words, your English is excellent. These are the kinds of words that native speakers use in daily life, in conversations, at work, and in casual situations, without even thinking. By the end of this lesson, you'll not only recognize these words, but also know how to use them naturally in sentences. We'll walk through real-life examples, everyday conversations, and practice exercises to help you build fluency, comprehension, and confidence. This lesson is designed to improve your vocabulary, your sentence construction, and most importantly, your ability to think and speak like a fluent English speaker. Before we begin, make sure you hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon if you'd like to keep learning with more helpful English videos like this one. So, get your pen and notebook ready. Let's get started on a journey that's going to transform your English. In the English language, the choice of words you use plays a big role in how fluent and advanced you sound. Sometimes, just knowing the right word at the right moment makes all the difference between sounding like a beginner or sounding like a native. In this lesson, we will look at a collection of powerful English words, some of them common, some of them advanced, but all of them essential if you want to speak English naturally and confidently. These words come from everyday conversations, interactions with friends, situations at work, and general life experiences. Mastering these will not only enhance your vocabulary, but also give you the tools to speak in a more fluent, polished, and effortless way. Throughout this video, I will give you useful examples, practice sentences, and real-life exercises so that you can internalize each word deeply and start using it immediately in your daily conversations. Let's begin with a word that may sound simple, but it's used frequently by fluent English speakers: assume. When you assume something, it means you accept something as true without proof. It is commonly used when we talk about expectations or guesses. For example, you can say, "I assumed she had already left for work," or "Don't assume I'm angry just because I'm quiet." This word helps express uncertainty or a belief that's not confirmed yet. Now, let's turn that into a practice exercise. Imagine you are waiting for your friend at the cafe. She is late. Try to make a sentence using the word assume. You might say, "I assume she got stuck in traffic." Now change the sentence, "I assumed the meeting was at 3, not 2. By repeating sentences like this and placing yourself in real-life situations, you start making these words part of your active vocabulary. Now let's look at a word that helps you sound logical and reasonable: consequence. The word consequence means a result or an outcome of something. We often use this in situations involving cause and effect. For example, if you don't study, the consequence is poor results. Or, every action has a consequence. Using this word allows you to express outcomes clearly. Here's your practice now. Think of something you did last week and what the result was. For example, "I didn't sleep well, and the consequence was that I couldn't focus during work." Try another. "I exercised daily, and the consequence was that I felt more energetic." See how that works? When you use words like consequence, your explanations sound more developed and fluent. Another strong word to add to your vocabulary is hesitate. This word means to pause before doing something, usually because you're unsure or nervous. For example, "She hesitated before answering the question," or "Don't hesitate to ask for help." This word gives you a way to describe uncertainty in actions. Now, it's your turn. Imagine a situation where someone asks you something and you're not sure what to say. You could say, I hesitated when he asked me if I liked the movie. Another sentence could be, she didn't hesitate to stand up for herself. Practice this word by thinking of moments in your life when you felt unsure before acting. The next word that shows high-level understanding is require. It means something is needed or demanded. For example, this job requires experience, or learning English requires practice. It's a common but essential word that's used in many professional and personal situations. Now practice with me. Try saying, the recipe requires 2 eggs. Or, good communication requires listening. See how easily it fits into real situations? Start using require when you talk about needs or conditions, and your English will sound more natural and polished. Let's now take a moment to combine the words we've learned so far in a small paragraph for better practice. Listen carefully and try to repeat with me. I assumed the meeting would start at 10, so I arrived early. But as a consequence of misreading the email, I had to wait 30 minutes. I didn't hesitate to use that time to review my notes, because I know preparation is required for success. When you practice words together in this way, you begin to build natural fluency. The flow of your sentences becomes smoother, and your thoughts are expressed more clearly in English. Now let's learn another powerful word, emphasize. This means to give special importance or attention to something. Native speakers use it often to highlight something in a conversation or discussion. You could say, I want to emphasize the importance of being on time. Or, he emphasized that honesty is the best policy. Try saying this. During the meeting, she emphasized the need to stay within budget. Now imagine you are talking to your younger sibling about studying. You could say, I want to emphasize how important it is to prepare for your exams. Practicing this word helps you sound persuasive and intentional when you speak. Let's now try using emphasize with other words we've learned. For example, I want to emphasize that arriving late may have consequences. Or, the teacher emphasized that every project requires planning. See how words link together in natural ways. This is how fluent speakers talk. You can too. Just by practicing like this every day. Here's another advanced word that's very useful in conversations, consider. It means to think about something carefully before making a decision. For example, please consider my application, or have you considered moving to another city? It's used in both casual and formal conversations. Let's try this in your own examples. Imagine you're giving advice to a friend. You might say, you should consider learning English online if you don't have time for classes. Or, he's considering buying a new car. By using consider, you can make your speech more thoughtful and mature. Here's your next exercise. Try to build a short story using 3 of the words we've learned: assume, consider, and consequence. For instance, I assumed the weather would be sunny, so I didn't bring an umbrella. As a consequence, I got completely soaked in the rain. Now, I'm considering keeping an umbrella in my bag all the time. This story uses logic, emotion, and daily vocabulary. When you create your own stories like this, you learn faster and remember longer. Let's now talk about a word that helps show how much you value something: appreciate. To appreciate something means to understand and be thankful for its value. For example, I appreciate your help, or she appreciates honest feedback. This word adds emotion and politeness to your language. Practice saying, I really appreciate your time, or they appreciated the quiet environment of the library. Use it in your daily life, when someone helps you or when you receive a compliment. Showing appreciation is not only polite, but also makes your speech more engaging. Here's a short practice situation. Imagine someone brought you lunch. You can say, thank you so much. I really appreciate your kindness. Or if a teacher gives you useful feedback, say, "I appreciate your comments. They helped me improve." Practicing these types of polite responses helps you sound respectful and fluent at the same time. We'll now take a short moment to repeat all the key words we've covered so far through a natural story. This morning, I assumed the store would open at 9, but it was actually closed until 10. As a consequence, I had to wait outside for an hour. I considered going back home, but I didn't hesitate to use the time wisely. I read a few pages from a book I brought. That helped me relax, and I appreciated the quiet moment to myself. Later, when the store opened, I emphasized to the staff how important it is to update their schedule online. They appreciated the feedback and promised to fix it. This story is full of natural, advanced English, and you can practice speaking it aloud to get familiar with pronunciation and structure. Another incredibly useful word you should become comfortable with is negotiate. This word means to discuss something in order to reach an agreement. You often hear it in business settings, but it's equally useful in everyday life. For example, they negotiated a better price for the car, or we need to negotiate who's going to do the house chores this week. This word helps you sound cooperative and thoughtful. It also shows that you value discussion and fairness. Now let's practice. Imagine you're planning a trip with friends, but everyone wants to visit a different place. You might say, "We had to negotiate our travel plans so everyone could be happy." Or in a workplace scenario, "He negotiated extra time to finish the project." Try using it in a sentence from your own life. Think of a time when you and someone else had to come to an agreement. Speak that out loud and make it part of your memory. Next is the word determine. This means to find out or decide something after careful thinking. It is commonly used when we are talking about causes, results, or decisions. For example, we need to determine the best time for the meeting, or the test results will determine the next step. This word shows that you are methodical and thoughtful in your approach. Now, let's imagine a scene where you're organizing a family gathering. You could say, "We're trying to determine how many guests will come so we can prepare food accordingly." Or in another setting, "She determined that online learning was more effective for her." Repeat these sentences and then create one based on your own day. Practicing this word will help you explain decisions clearly. Another strong vocabulary word is interrupt. To interrupt means to stop someone while they are speaking or doing something. This word is very useful when you want to talk about conversations or moments that are suddenly broken. For example, "I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I ask a quick question?" Or, "The meeting was interrupted by a phone call." This word helps you describe timing and politeness in interaction. Practice saying, "Please don't interrupt me while I'm studying," or "He interrupted the teacher with an urgent question." Think about a moment when your focus was broken. Use the word interrupt to describe it. "I was reading a book, but the noise outside interrupted my concentration." Saying these aloud makes you more fluent over time. Let's move on to contribute. This word means to give something, such as time, effort, or ideas, to a group or cause. For instance, "Everyone contributed to the success of the event," or "She contributed her skills to complete the team project." Using this word shows that you understand collaboration and teamwork. Now, let's practice it in action. Imagine you're in a group assignment. You could say, "I contributed by doing the research part." Or in your home life, "My brother and I contributed equally to cleaning the house." Create a new sentence from your real-life experience using contribute. Maybe say it aloud a few times to let the word feel natural. Now we come to a word that helps you express uncertainty in a thoughtful way, doubt. To doubt something means to not be sure about it or to question its truth. For example, "I doubt that he will come on time," or "She doubted her ability to pass the test, but she did great." This word adds emotional depth and honesty to your speech. Practice saying, "I don't doubt your skills," or "He doubted the decision at first, but later he was satisfied." Think of something you were unsure about recently. Try describing it using the word doubt. For example, "I doubted whether I should go to the party, but I'm glad I did." Speaking in this way helps you sound more mature and reflective. Let's do a mini practice story with all the words we've just learned. Negotiate, determine, interrupt, contribute, and doubt. We had to negotiate the plan for our group presentation. Everyone had different ideas. First, we determined the topic we all liked. While I was sharing my points, one person kept interrupting, which made it hard to focus. Still, we managed to contribute our parts effectively. In the beginning, I doubted whether we could finish on time, but everything worked out in the end. This paragraph is very close to how native speakers tell stories: clear, expressive, and fluent. Practice reading it out loud to build your speaking rhythm. Let's explore another word that fluent speakers use all the time: maintain. This word means to keep something going or to take care of something so that it stays in good condition. For example, "She maintains a healthy diet," or "We must maintain good relationships with our clients." This is a great word to use when you're talking about habits, conditions, or responsibilities. Try saying, "I maintain a regular study schedule to improve my English," or "He maintains his car very well." Use this word in sentences about your routine. It could be, "I maintain my room by cleaning it every weekend." This word helps you talk about consistency and discipline. Now try a little exercise. Combine maintain with other words we've learned. To maintain a good work environment, everyone must contribute. Or, if we want to maintain peace, we should learn how to negotiate. Do you see how these words fit together like puzzle pieces? When you combine them in conversation, your English becomes more dynamic and meaningful. Next comes the word recommend. This means to suggest something as being good or suitable. You'll often hear this in restaurants, reviews, and advice. For example, "I recommend the pasta. It's delicious." Or, "He recommended that I take a break." Practice this with personal examples. "I recommend watching English movies to improve listening skills," or "My teacher recommended reading aloud for better pronunciation." Now make a sentence about something you like. Maybe say, "I recommend this cafe. It's quiet and comfortable." Repeating this word with different topics helps make it part of your everyday language. We'll now create a short practice conversation using maintain and recommend. "I try to maintain my health by walking every day." That's great. "I recommend adding some stretching exercises too." Simple conversations like this help you connect the words naturally. Read it out loud and feel the rhythm of how English sounds in daily use. Let's now move to the word attempt. This means to try doing something, especially something difficult. For example, "She attempted to climb the mountain," or "He attempted to fix the computer, but it didn't work." It's more formal than just saying try and can add variety to your vocabulary. Now practice this. "I attempted to write a story in English." Or, "They attempted to cook a new recipe." Think of something you've tried to do, even if you weren't successful. Use attempt in your sentence. This helps you describe your efforts in a way that sounds thoughtful and expressive. Here's another mini story practice. "I attempted to negotiate a discount at the store." First, I determined that the item was slightly damaged. When I spoke to the manager, he interrupted me a few times, but eventually he agreed. I appreciated his help and promised to maintain good relations by recommending the store to my friends. Stories like this blend real vocabulary into meaningful situations. Repeat it out loud to practice both speaking and listening at once. Now we'll learn the word realize. This means to become aware of something or understand something clearly. For example, I didn't realize it was so late, or she realized that learning English takes time. This is a powerful word that lets you express reflection or discovery. Practice saying, I realized I need to practice speaking more, or they realized how important time management is. Think of a moment recently when you learned something important. Describe it using the word realize. I realized that small steps every day lead to big progress. Let's do a small recap paragraph combining some of the new words. I attempted to follow a new routine for studying English. I maintained it for a few days, but then I realized I needed to wake up earlier to fit everything in. My friend recommended some new techniques. I contributed some of my ideas too. We negotiated the best plan, and now we're both making steady progress. This is how you tell stories with clarity and confidence. Keep repeating such examples aloud to sharpen your fluency. Another excellent word that will make your English sound more polished is convince. To convince someone means to make them believe something, or to persuade them to take action. This word is commonly used when discussing ideas, decisions, or feelings. For example, he convinced me to apply for the scholarship, or she was convinced that practicing every day would improve her English. Let's try practicing this word together. Imagine you are talking to a friend who is unsure about joining an English class. You could say, I convinced him to join because I knew it would help him a lot. Or, she convinced me to start reading English books regularly. When you talk about how people change their minds, this word is perfect to use. Now, let's use convince in a short practice story. I wasn't sure about attending the English seminar last weekend, but my classmate convinced me to go. She said it would be interesting and helpful. I ended up learning a lot and was glad I went. Practice this aloud. And even try telling your own mini story using the word convince. When you apply words to your own life, they become part of your speaking memory. Next, let's learn the word respond. To respond means to reply or react to something. For example, she responded to the email immediately, or how did he respond to the news? This word is simple, but essential, and it's used constantly in both casual and formal communication. Now, let's try using it in some daily life examples. I responded quickly when I got the invitation. Or, he didn't respond to my message until the next day. You can also practice this by thinking about a recent conversation you had. For example, when she asked me about my weekend, I responded with a smile. These small everyday sentences are powerful for building fluency. Let's try combining some of the words we've learned so far. He convinced me to apply for the job. I responded by updating my resume and sending it right away. Or another one. She realized how serious the issue was and responded by taking immediate action. These types of sentence combinations allow you to speak in a more advanced and natural way. Practice repeating them and even build your own versions. This is how you create lasting vocabulary skills. Another powerful word is remind. This means to help someone remember something. For example, can you remind me about the meeting tomorrow? Or, this photo reminds me of my childhood. It's a word we often use in daily routines, especially when managing time or emotions. Try practicing with this sentence. Please remind me to call my mom this evening. Or, his advice reminded me that I should never give up. Think of something that recently reminded you of a memory or a task. Create a sentence and say it aloud using the word remind. When words are connected to personal experience, they stick with you longer. Let's now create a realistic situation using the words convince, respond, and remind. My friend convinced me to join the English speaking club at school. I was nervous at first, but I responded positively and decided to give it a try. The teacher reminded us to be confident, even if we make mistakes. This is a true-to-life example that reflects how English is used naturally. Speak this paragraph aloud to improve both your vocabulary and fluency. The next useful word is express. This means to show thoughts, feelings, or ideas through words, actions, or art. For example, it's important to express your opinions, or she expressed her happiness with a big smile. In English conversations, especially in emotional or opinion-based topics, this word is very common. Try these practice sentences. I expressed my disappointment after missing the event. Or, he finds it hard to express his feelings. Think about the last time you expressed a strong opinion. Say a sentence about it, such as, I expressed my support for the new class schedule. Expressing feelings clearly is a sign of confident language use. Now, let's create a practice story. Last week, I had to express my concern about a team project that wasn't going well. I convinced the group to meet again and discuss the issues. Everyone responded respectfully, and in the end, we made great progress. Our teacher reminded us that good communication is the key to teamwork. Practice this paragraph until it feels smooth. You'll notice how your speaking rhythm improves as you speak in full connected thoughts. Let's move on to another great word, realize. While we discussed it earlier, let's go deeper with more examples. Realizing something is often a mental or emotional discovery. For example, I realized I was going in the wrong direction. Or, she realized that working part-time was better for her studies. Practice using it with your real experiences. I realized I need to sleep earlier to stay focused during the day. Or, after watching English videos daily, I realized my listening improved a lot. You can also combine realize with other words. I realized I wasn't expressing my ideas clearly, so I practiced speaking more. Let's bring in another useful word, encourage. This means to give someone support or confidence to do something. You can say, my teacher encouraged me to speak more in class. Or, her words encouraged me to keep going. This is a beautiful word because it shows emotional support, something that's very common in both friendly and professional communication. Now try this. I encouraged my friend to take the English test. Or, he encouraged his daughter to follow her dreams. Think of a time you gave someone motivation. Try saying, I encouraged him to apply for the internship. Using encourage adds warmth and kindness to your speech. Now let's do another real-life practice paragraph. I realized I had been avoiding speaking in English because I lacked confidence. My friend encouraged me to practice by talking with her daily. At first, I responded with hesitation, but soon I started enjoying it. She reminded me to stay positive and keep practicing. Eventually, I expressed my thoughts more clearly and felt proud of my improvement. This small story connects several of our key words in a natural and emotional way. Try practicing this paragraph by reading it aloud. Feel the flow of how English works in real conversations. Let's add one more beautiful word to your vocabulary, admire. To admire means to respect or look up to someone or something. For example, I admire her dedication to learning, or many people admire great leaders. This word is very expressive and shows appreciation. Practice saying, I admire how you always stay calm in stressful situations. Or, she admires her father's hard work. Think about someone you admire and use that in a sentence. I admire my teacher's passion for English. You can also connect admire with other words. I admire how she expresses her ideas clearly, or he admired her ability to stay focused. Now let's practice using admire, encourage, and remind together in a short story. My older sister has always encouraged me to learn English. I admire her confidence and the way she speaks so fluently. She constantly reminds me that everyone makes mistakes and that practice is the only way to improve. This story uses strong vocabulary in a simple, clear way. When you practice in full paragraphs like this, your brain learns to think in English and connect ideas naturally. We've now introduced many valuable words that help you speak fluently, express feelings, and communicate ideas clearly. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to use these words in real-time conversations. You don't need to memorize everything at once. Instead, focus on understanding the meaning, using the words in your own sentences, and speaking them aloud regularly. Use daily moments to talk to yourself in English using these words. For example, when you're getting ready in the morning, say to yourself, "Today I'll respond to emails early," or "I need to remind myself to stay calm during the meeting." These small habits are what make a big difference over time. Another highly useful word in everyday English is participate. To participate means to take part in something or to be involved in an activity. This word is common in school, work, and social settings. For example, she participated in the science fair, or everyone is encouraged to participate in the discussion. Using this word shows engagement and involvement. Now, let's try to practice with a few sentences. I participated in a group debate last week, or he participated actively during the training session. Think about something you recently did where you were part of a team or event. Say it out loud. I participated in my community's weekend cleanup drive. Making personal connections with vocabulary helps you remember them more naturally. Let's now use participate in a short paragraph with words we've already learned. I was nervous at first, but my teacher convinced me to participate in the English storytelling contest. She encouraged me with kind words and reminded me that mistakes are part of learning. I responded with gratitude and began preparing my story. On the day of the event, I expressed my ideas clearly, and many people admired my courage. This paragraph shows the natural blend of powerful English words. Try reading it out loud to practice fluency and build confidence. Let's now explore the word requirement. This word refers to something that is necessary or needed. You will often hear this in academic, professional, or formal settings. For example, a passport is a requirement for international travel. Or, speaking skills are a basic requirement for this job. It's related to the verb require, which we discussed earlier. But this is the noun form. Let's now try a few sentences for practice. One of the requirements for the course is completing weekly assignments. Or, punctuality is a requirement in our workplace. You can create a sentence from your own experience. Like, the requirement for joining the club was attending the orientation session. By using both the verb and noun forms, your vocabulary becomes more flexible and complete. Let's practice a story. When I applied for the new English course, I checked all the requirements carefully. One requirement was to submit a short introduction video. At first, I hesitated, but then I reminded myself that I had practiced speaking before. I recorded the video confidently and submitted it on time. Later, the teacher responded with helpful feedback and encouraged me to continue participating. This kind of paragraph practice brings real meaning to vocabulary and helps improve both speaking and understanding. Next, let's learn the word adjust. To adjust means to make small changes in order to fit or function better. This is used when we talk about adapting to new situations or improving something. For example, I had to adjust the chair to reach the desk. Or, she adjusted her schedule to attend the class. This word shows flexibility, which is a valuable trait in communication and life. Now, try saying, I adjusted my daily routine to include more English listening practice. Or, He adjusted quickly to the new environment. You can create a sentence from your experience. Think about a time you had to change something. I adjusted my speaking pace so others could understand me better. Keep practicing until it feels comfortable. Let's combine adjust with other familiar words. At first, I doubted I could handle the new job. But with time, I adjusted to the fast pace. My supervisor appreciated my effort and encouraged me to express any concerns. Notice how these words come together to create meaningful sentences. This is how fluent speakers think and speak, by combining vocabulary with real-life logic. Now, let's talk about the word efficient. This word means working in a way that gets results, with minimum waste of time or effort. Being efficient means being organized, productive, and smart in how you do things. For example, she's very efficient at managing her time. Or, this app helps make communication more efficient. Practice saying, I want to be more efficient in my English studies. Or, efficient planning saves a lot of stress. You can also try combining it with other words. I adjusted my study habits to become more efficient. Or, the teacher encouraged us to develop efficient note-taking strategies. Use it when talking about improvements or productivity. Let's practice with a story. When I realized I was spending too much time reviewing old material, I adjusted my method. I started using flashcards and time-limited quizzes to be more efficient. This way, I could participate more actively in class. My instructor admired my efforts and reminded me to keep tracking my progress. Try to speak this out loud. Listen to how the words connect naturally and make the story flow. Now, let's move to a word that helps you describe reactions: hesitate. Although we introduced this earlier, let's practice with fresh examples. You can say, don't hesitate to ask questions. Or, he hesitated before making his decision. Try saying, I hesitated before speaking in front of the class. Now think of a recent decision where you were unsure. Use that in a sentence. I hesitated to join the online session, but later I felt glad I did. Practice with emotion in your voice. Hesitation is something we all experience, and describing it accurately can make your English sound very authentic. Let's go ahead with another word that's often used when discussing plans or strategies: evaluate. To evaluate means to assess something carefully, usually to make a judgment or decision. For example, the teacher will evaluate our presentations. Or, we need to evaluate the pros and cons before deciding. It's common in work and academic settings, but also very useful in daily life. Try saying, I evaluated my progress after 1 month of English practice. Or, we evaluated different options for our weekend trip. This word helps you sound thoughtful and organized. Let's create a short story with evaluate, hesitate, adjust, and efficient. After 1 week of using my new English app, I evaluated whether it was helping. At first, I hesitated to spend money on the premium version, but then I saw real improvement. I adjusted my study time to use the app each morning. It made my practice sessions more efficient and enjoyable. Read it slowly, then repeat it at your natural pace. These vocabulary-packed stories are powerful for building fluency. Now we'll talk about benefit. This word can be both a noun and a verb. As a noun, it means an advantage or gain. As a verb, it means to receive help or advantage from something. For example, a healthy diet has many benefits. Or, you will benefit from reading every day. Try practicing both forms. One benefit of watching English videos is improved listening skills. And I benefited greatly from joining the conversation group. Think of something that helped you recently and describe it. I benefited from writing daily journal entries in English. Practice saying it until it feels easy and natural. Let's connect benefit with our other words in a short paragraph. I adjusted my learning routine and evaluated my progress weekly. This helped me stay efficient and focused. I hesitated at first, but later realized the benefits of consistent practice. My friend also participated, and we both benefited from studying together. These natural examples help you understand not just the meaning, but also the tone and rhythm of English speech. To end this part, let's go through a quick recap using a realistic daily scenario. Today, I participated in a virtual English class. The requirement was to prepare a short presentation. I hesitated before speaking, but reminded myself that everyone is still learning. After class, I evaluated my performance and realized I need to adjust my preparation method to be more efficient. The teacher encouraged me and said I was making good progress. I really appreciated her support and admired her way of motivating others. I believe I benefited a lot from this experience and plan to continue practicing daily. Let's continue with more advanced English words. Words that reflect excellent vocabulary and how they're used in everyday conversations. One such word is meticulous. This word refers to being very careful and paying close attention to detail. For example, you could say, "She is meticulous about her appearance," or "He checked the document with meticulous care." When you use meticulous instead of careful, it shows that you have a broader vocabulary and a more precise way to express thoughts. Try saying, "I'm meticulous when it comes to planning my schedule." Practice saying this in different contexts, like at work, while cooking, or even when cleaning your room. It helps build your confidence and flexibility in using it naturally. Another excellent word is inevitable. This means something is certain to happen and cannot be avoided. You might hear someone say, "Change is inevitable," or "With all those dark clouds, the rain was inevitable." When you include words like this in your speech, you begin sounding more fluent and well-read. Try making your own sentences such as, "With all that sugar, gaining weight seemed inevitable," or "When you don't prepare, failure becomes inevitable." Keep practicing with different situations to reinforce the use of this word. Let's talk about resilient. This powerful word means being able to recover quickly from difficulties or being tough in the face of adversity. You can say, "She is resilient after going through tough times," or "Children are often very resilient." Think of times in your own life when you were resilient. Say things like, "I remained resilient when I didn't pass the first test," or "Resilient people don't give up easily." Repeating it in personal contexts will help you remember the word and use it naturally. Now, let's learn the word ineffable. This is an advanced word, and it means something too great or extreme to be expressed in words. For example, "The beauty of the sunset was ineffable," or "His joy on winning the medal was ineffable." Practice using it in emotional or inspiring contexts. Say, "The happiness I felt after meeting my best friend was ineffable," or "The ineffable peace I felt walking through the forest stayed with me all day." Using this word makes your English sound poetic and thoughtful. Another strong word you can learn is alleviate. This means to make something less severe, especially pain or suffering. For example, "The medicine helped alleviate her headache," or "Exercise can alleviate stress." Practice sentences like, "Listening to music alleviates my anxiety," or "A warm bath alleviates the soreness in my legs after a workout." Notice how this word replaces simple ones like reduce or ease and makes your sentence more precise and professional. Let's move on to the word scrutinize. This means to examine something very carefully. For example, "The manager scrutinized the report for errors," or "He scrutinized the fine print before signing the contract." This word is often used in professional or academic contexts. You can practice it with statements like, before buying a new phone, I always scrutinize the reviews. Or, she scrutinized the ingredients on the label to make sure it was healthy. Using scrutinize instead of check carefully shows your command over English vocabulary. Now let's understand the word perplexed. This means confused or puzzled. For example, she looked perplexed when she saw the complicated instructions, or he was perplexed by the sudden change in her behavior. You can practice this by creating sentences from your daily life, such as, I was perplexed by the math problem, or the movie's ending left everyone perplexed. Saying it aloud and using it regularly helps fix it in your memory. Now let's talk about candid. This word means honest and straightforward. It's often used when describing a person's behavior or opinion. For example, he gave a candid answer, or I appreciate your candid feedback. You can use it in different situations like, let me be candid with you, or she was candid about her mistakes. Using candid instead of just honest makes you sound more fluent and expressive in your communication. Another advanced and beautiful word is serendipity. This refers to a happy accident or a fortunate discovery made by chance. For example, finding my lost wallet in the park was pure serendipity, or we met by serendipity at the bookstore. Practice with daily sentences like, it was serendipity that I found my old childhood friend on social media, or discovering that cafe on the corner was pure serendipity. The word adds charm and positivity to your vocabulary. Let's look at epitome. This word refers to a perfect example of something. You can say, she is the epitome of kindness, or that car is the epitome of luxury. Try using it in different scenarios. Say, my teacher is the epitome of patience, or his performance was the epitome of excellence. Repeating this word while thinking about real-life examples will help you retain it and use it accurately. Now consider the word benevolent. This means kind and generous. You may say, the benevolent woman donated food to the homeless, or he was a benevolent leader who cared for his people. Practice it with situations around you. My neighbor is benevolent and always helps others, or the charity received support from many benevolent individuals. This word adds a gentle and rich tone to your spoken English. Let's not forget conundrum. This refers to a confusing and difficult problem or question. For instance, deciding between two job offers is a real conundrum, or this puzzle is quite a conundrum. Use it in examples like, I faced a conundrum about which course to take, or it's a conundrum whether to stay or move abroad. Saying it aloud and linking it with your experiences helps it stay in your memory. And here's a useful one, eloquent. This means speaking clearly, beautifully, and persuasively. For example, the speaker gave an eloquent speech, or she was eloquent in expressing her feelings. Practice it by saying, I want to become an eloquent English speaker. Or, her eloquent description of the place made everyone want to visit. The more you use the word in positive, ambitious statements, the more naturally it will become a part of your vocabulary. Let's try a short practice conversation using many of the words we've learned so far. Imagine two colleagues talking. A. I was truly perplexed by the new project brief. Did you get a chance to scrutinize it? B. Yes, I did. I think the confusion is inevitable because the instructions are too vague. A. That's true. I'm trying to remain resilient and adapt to the situation. B. You're doing great. Honestly, your effort is the epitome of commitment. A. Thank you. I just hope my ideas don't sound too candid in tomorrow's meeting. B. Not at all. Your eloquent way of presenting always leaves a good impression. Now, try replacing their sentences with your own examples, using the same vocabulary. Practice like this every day using different scenarios from your work, studies, or home life. It will greatly boost your comfort with advanced English words and help you naturally use them in real conversations. Now, let's continue discovering more powerful English words that signal advanced fluency and give your speech a polished, articulate tone. One such word is meticulous. This word means paying very close attention to detail and being extremely careful or precise in your actions. When someone is described as meticulous, it reflects not only their attention to precision, but also their commitment to excellence. For example, instead of saying, "She's very careful with her work," you can say, "She's meticulous in her approach to every project." You might hear someone say, "The artist was meticulous about every brushstroke," meaning the artist paid extreme attention to every small detail in the painting. Practice this in your own example. "I am meticulous when it comes to organizing my schedule." Or, "A meticulous editor can spot even the smallest mistakes in a document." The word itself sounds elevated and sophisticated, giving a clear impression of a thoughtful, diligent person. Now think about the word resilient. This word refers to someone who can bounce back quickly from difficulties or challenges. It's a powerful word because it reflects strength, determination, and a positive mindset. Instead of saying, "He doesn't give up easily," you could say, "He's a resilient person who faces every setback with courage." Try creating your own example sentence. "After losing her job, she remained resilient and started her own business." Or, "Children are often more resilient than we realize." This word shows that a person is not just strong, but mentally tough, a great quality to have, and to describe in fluent conversations. Another elegant word is versatile. This means someone or something that is able to do many different things well. For example, "She's a versatile performer who can sing, dance, and act." Instead of saying "useful in many ways," say "versatile." It immediately sounds more polished. Try. "This tool is so versatile, I use it for cooking, baking, and even decorating." You can describe a friend by saying, "He's a versatile employee, capable of handling sales, customer support, and data analysis." Using such vocabulary makes you appear more articulate and gives your speech professional depth. Let's bring in the word perceptive. This word describes someone who notices things quickly and understands situations or people well. It's more advanced than just saying smart or observant. For example, "She's very perceptive when it comes to reading people's emotions." Or, "His perceptive comments showed that he understood the topic deeply." You can practice by saying, "My teacher is very perceptive. She always knows when a student is struggling, even if they don't say it." Or, "Being perceptive helps you build better relationships because you can respond to what others really need." This word shows emotional intelligence and sharpness, traits that are admired in both casual and professional settings. Now, let's talk about inevitable. This word means something that is certain to happen and cannot be avoided. It's a word that often adds clarity and strength to your expressions. Instead of saying, "It will probably happen," you say, "It's inevitable." For instance, "With that much rain, flooding was inevitable." Or, "Change is inevitable in every part of life." It's a great word when discussing facts, outcomes, or changes. Try practicing. "It's inevitable that technology will continue to shape the way we live." Or, "Some disagreements are inevitable when working in teams." This word helps you sound more confident when expressing certainty or logical conclusions. The word authentic is another beautiful one to master. It means real, genuine, or true to oneself. You might say, her smile is so authentic, you can tell she's really happy. Or, the restaurant serves authentic Italian food. In today's world, people admire authenticity, both in behavior and communication. You can say, I try to be authentic in every conversation. Or, it's refreshing to meet someone who is truly authentic. Instead of using the word real over and over, using authentic gives a refined and honest touch to your vocabulary. Let's explore the word profound. This word means deep or intense, not just physically, but mentally or emotionally. For instance, that movie had a profound effect on me. Or, she shared some profound thoughts during the discussion. It's much stronger than just saying deep or meaningful. Try creating your own example. I had a profound realization about my career. Or, his words left a profound impression on the audience. This word can elevate how you describe emotions, ideas, or insights, especially in more thoughtful conversations or writing. One more extremely useful word is comprehensive. It means complete and covering everything that is needed. Instead of saying a big report, you might say a comprehensive report. You could say, this book provides a comprehensive guide to English grammar. Or, she gave a comprehensive overview of the project. Try. Before making a decision, we need a comprehensive understanding of the situation. Or, his knowledge of history is very comprehensive. This word works well in academic, business, and professional English, and instantly gives your sentence a stronger presence. Let's now practice these words with a short story example. That will help you use them naturally. Imagine a young woman named Aisha, who just got her first job in a new city. She's meticulous in organizing her apartment and arranging her schedule. Even though her work is challenging and unfamiliar, she remains resilient and doesn't give up easily. Her versatile skills help her handle both client meetings and back-end office tasks. She's perceptive enough to notice when her coworkers are stressed and offers them support. Her boss sees this and gives her more responsibility. She understands that long hours are inevitable in the beginning, but she stays authentic, never pretending to be someone she's not. One day, her manager shares some profound advice about balancing ambition with well-being, and Aisha listens carefully. Over time, she builds a comprehensive strategy to manage her workload efficiently, and she's praised for her growth. Now, let's turn that story into a practice exercise for you. Try to rewrite that story in your own words, using the key vocabulary: meticulous, resilient, versatile, perceptive, inevitable, authentic, profound, and comprehensive. This will help you develop fluency with these words. Think about your own experience. Maybe you moved to a new city, started a new job, or took on a new challenge. Can you describe your experience using these same words? Speak aloud and record yourself. Then listen back and notice how natural the words sound when you use them in your own voice. Repeating these kinds of personal stories using rich vocabulary is one of the best ways to grow your fluency and confidence. Another great idea is to write a short journal entry at the end of each day, using at least 3 of these words. For example, today was exhausting, but I stayed resilient. I had to prepare a comprehensive report and make sure every detail was right, so I was very meticulous. My team appreciated how perceptive I was during the meeting. Writing like this helps lock the words into your long-term memory and gives you real context for using them later. Now that we've gone through a variety of advanced and expressive English words, let's practice how to use them more naturally in everyday life. Imagine you are talking to a friend about your weekend. Instead of saying, "It was good," you can say, "It was invigorating." For example, my weekend was invigorating. I went hiking, and the fresh air was exactly what I needed after a long week of work. You see how one powerful word can change the feel of a sentence? It not only adds depth, but also shows your vocabulary strength. Now try this with your own example. Instead of saying, "The movie was interesting," try, "The movie was riveting." Practice by saying aloud, "That documentary on space was absolutely riveting. I couldn't take my eyes off it." Repeat this a few times to help your tongue and brain get used to it. Let's do a quick exercise. I'll give you a simple sentence, and you try to improve it using one of the powerful words we discussed. The sentence is, "I had a hard day." Now pause for a moment and think. You could say, "I had a grueling day," or "It was an excruciating day filled with back-to-back meetings." These types of expressions not only help you sound fluent, but also help you describe emotions more vividly. Practice with your own version of this sentence. Say it out loud now. Next, let's use the word meticulous. Suppose you're talking about a friend or a colleague who pays great attention to detail. Instead of saying, "She does things very carefully," you can say, "She's incredibly meticulous with her work." A sample sentence might be, "My coworker is meticulous when it comes to writing reports. She checks every figure twice before submitting." Try replacing careful or thorough with meticulous in your daily conversations. It's a great way to impress others with your language skills. Now, let's bring in serendipity. This word is perfect for describing happy accidents or unexpected good luck. Imagine you're telling a story. "I ran into an old friend at the bookstore by chance. It was pure serendipity." Instead of saying, "It was lucky," use serendipity to express the feeling more elegantly. Create your own version now and practice it. Think of a time something unexpectedly good happened. Frame a sentence around it using serendipity. For example, "Finding that job ad on the last day of applications was complete serendipity." Let's add a storytelling element now to deepen your learning. Picture this. Anna is walking down a quiet New York street on a rainy Saturday morning. She's feeling a bit melancholic after a tough week at work. As she passes a tiny antique bookstore tucked between two buildings, she decides to go in. She's immediately captivated by the warm smell of old books and the sound of jazz playing softly in the background. As she browses the shelves, her eyes land on a book titled Moments of Serendipity. She picks it up, and just then, someone else reaches for the same book. They look at each other, both surprised. The man smiles and says, "Looks like we've had a serendipitous moment." That little encounter leads to a long conversation, and they become good friends. See how the word serendipity fits beautifully in this short story? This is how you remember vocabulary, not just by memorizing definitions, but by connecting words with meaningful experiences or stories. Another powerful word is ephemeral. This is used to describe something short-lived or fleeting. You might use it when talking about a beautiful moment. For instance, the sunset was ephemeral, but it painted the sky with colors I'll never forget. Instead of saying, "The sunset didn't last long," using ephemeral elevates your sentence and shows a poetic understanding of language. Now try using this word in your own sentence. Think about a moment that was beautiful but brief. Maybe a smile, a kind word from someone, a quick hug. Frame a sentence using ephemeral. For example, "The laughter shared during that meeting was ephemeral, yet it brightened the whole day." Let's practice a real-life situation. You're talking to someone about their travel experience. Instead of asking, "Did you like it?" ask, "Was it a transformative experience?" Now that's a powerful phrase. It shows you're using advanced vocabulary and expressing deeper thoughts. You might say, my trip to the Himalayas was transformative. It changed the way I view nature and simplicity. Repeat this sentence. Practice saying it clearly and confidently. Use it to describe moments that truly changed you, even in small ways. Let's shift focus slightly. It's not just about knowing these words, but also about when and how to use them. Using high-level vocabulary without context can sometimes confuse listeners. So, balance is key. Think about your listener and the setting. For example, while talking to a close friend about your mood, you might say, I felt a bit melancholic today. But in a job interview, you'd probably say, I experienced a moment of reflection that helped me grow. Choose the right word based on your audience. This kind of flexibility shows true mastery of English. Here's a mini exercise. I'll give you a scenario, and you try forming a sentence with an advanced word. The scenario: you received a compliment from someone you admire. Try forming a sentence using the word gratifying. For example, receiving praise from my mentor was truly gratifying. Now pause the video and say your version aloud. Let the words sink into your mind. Say it with emotion, as if you really mean it. Let's add another real-life example. Imagine Anna again, now sitting in a quiet cafe working on her art. Someone nearby notices her sketchbook and says, "Your work is mesmerizing." Anna smiles, feeling seen and appreciated. That's another beautiful word, mesmerizing. It means something so fascinating that it captures your full attention. Instead of saying, her drawing was good, you say, her drawing was mesmerizing. Practice this one. Say aloud, the performance was mesmerizing. I was completely lost in it. Let's revisit and use another great word, vulnerable. Many people avoid using this word, but it's essential for emotional expression. It means being open, showing your true self, even when it's hard. You might say, I felt vulnerable sharing my story, but it brought me closer to my friends. That sentence shows emotional depth. Now think about a time when you opened up to someone. Try expressing it using the word vulnerable. Practice it a few times. It's not just a word, it's a feeling. And using it makes your English sound more human and authentic. And don't forget tenacious. This word is perfect when describing persistence. If you're working on your English every day, you are tenacious. Say it aloud. I'm tenacious in my journey to learn English. That's a sentence full of motivation. Use it often. Practice saying, even when I struggle, I stay tenacious. I keep trying. Saying these kinds of sentences helps you believe them too, which makes your journey even stronger. Another word that is often underestimated, but extremely important in daily English, is eventually. This word means in the end, or after a period of time. Native speakers use it to show the result after a delay or after several things have happened. For example, you might say, I kept studying every day, and eventually, I passed the exam. It signals patience, process, and final success. Practice using it in situations where you want to emphasize something that took time, but finally happened. Try saying, eventually, we found the perfect apartment. Or, she kept practicing and eventually became a great pianist. You can also use it in a professional context, like, eventually, the company adopted a new policy. It adds fluency to your story and helps you express time progression in a more elegant way. Now, let's practice with a quick story. Imagine you were looking for a new job. You applied to many places, prepared for interviews, and faced some rejections. But you didn't give up. Eventually, you got a job offer from a company you really wanted. Now try describing this story using the word eventually in your own words. For example, I was job hunting for 3 months. I applied to several companies and went in many interviews. I was getting nervous, but I stayed positive. Eventually, I got hired by a company that really appreciated my skills. Practice speaking this paragraph aloud. It's a great way to train your tongue and mind to use the word naturally. Let's move on to a useful phrase that many advanced English speakers use without realizing how powerful it is, as far as I know. This phrase is used to express your knowledge about something while also being cautious. For example, as far as I know, the meeting is still on for tomorrow. It means you believe something is true, but you're not 100% certain. You're softening your statement. It's especially useful in professional conversations or when talking about something that may change. Instead of just saying, the train leaves at 7, say, as far as I know, the train leaves at 7. It shows politeness, responsibility, and awareness. Practice examples. Let's say your friend asks if the library is open today. Instead of giving a direct answer, you can say, as far as I know, it opens at 10 a.m. Or, if someone asks about your colleague's availability, you might say, as far as I know, she's working from home today. Notice how this phrase adds sophistication and nuance to your replies. Repeat a few examples aloud and try creating your own based on your day-to-day life. Now let's explore another powerful word, regardless. This word shows that something happens without being affected by a particular factor. For instance, she continued working hard regardless of the difficulties. It expresses determination, a sense of consistency, or decision in spite of obstacles. This word can be used in motivational contexts, arguments, or explanations. Saying, regardless of what people say, I'm following my dream, shows strength and independence. Try using it in conversations when you want to show that something doesn't change because of conditions. Practice paragraph. Think of a time when you didn't give up on something. For example, I was training for a marathon. It rained heavily on some days, and I felt tired on others. But regardless of the weather or how I felt, I went for my run every morning. Now try saying this story in your own words. This kind of practice builds your ability to use powerful vocabulary naturally. Let's now talk about the word meanwhile. This is a connector word that helps you show two actions happening at the same time, or to switch topics smoothly. For example, she was cooking dinner. Meanwhile, I set the table. It's great for storytelling and describing scenes. It helps your listener or reader follow the timeline of events. You can also use it like, the kids were playing outside. Meanwhile, their parents were talking inside. Practice using this word when describing your daily routine. I was attending an online class. Meanwhile, my brother was playing games in the next room. This type of structure is commonly used in natural English and helps you sound fluent and organized in your thoughts. Let's now include another valuable phrase, it turns out. This phrase is useful for introducing surprising or unexpected information. For example, I thought the train was late, but it turns out I was looking at the wrong schedule. It can be used in daily conversations, storytelling, and even professional contexts. I didn't think she'd like the job, but it turns out she's loving it. Practice telling small stories with this phrase. Think about a time when you were wrong about something and you found the truth later. Describe it like this. I thought the cafe was closed today, but it turns out they changed their hours last week. Now, let's explore another elegant word, tend. This verb means usually do something or have a habit of. For instance, I tend to wake up early. Or, she tends to get nervous before interviews. It's more formal than saying I usually, and it helps you sound more fluent. Use it to talk about your habits, tendencies, or even other people's behavior. For example, students tend to perform better when they get enough sleep. Try saying a few of your own sentences. I tend to drink tea in the evening. Or, he tends to forget his keys. Let's do a short paragraph using tend. When I'm stressed, I tend to eat more snacks than usual. I know it's not healthy, but I just can't help it. I tend to relax by watching my favorite shows. Speak this paragraph aloud and feel the flow of how the word fits naturally into your thoughts. Here's another word you should know, frankly. This word is used when you want to express your honest opinion, even if it's strong or unexpected. For example, frankly, I didn't enjoy the movie. Or, frankly, I think you could have handled it better. It helps show that you're being direct and sincere. It's polite, yet powerful. Practice by using it in sentences like, frankly, I don't see the point of this discussion. Or, frankly, I'm a bit tired today. This word is perfect when you want to speak your mind while still sounding fluent. So, if you've made it this far, congratulations! You've just explored some of the most powerful and naturally used English words that can really take your fluency to the next level. By practicing these words in everyday situations, you're not just memorizing vocabulary, you're training your brain to think in English. Remember, understanding a word is one thing, but using it correctly and naturally is what makes your English excellent. Keep practicing out loud, write your own sentences, and try using these words when you speak with others. Language learning is not about speed, it's about consistency. Keep showing up and you'll keep growing. If you found this lesson helpful and want to continue improving with more lessons like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon so you never miss an English learning video. I'm Natasha, and it's been a pleasure guiding you today. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep learning, stay confident, and speak English every day.